Very interesting, very interesting. I think so. Yeah, that brings me to like the second topic. Like, I think that's a good interlude for the second reason I was trying to raise. So, if you remember, I said that on the right hand we have like resource limitation, on the left hand we have like ideological conflicts, right? So, I think you are very correct in the sense that most of the warfare happening currently, most of it fundamentally, it's more of like an ideological conflict, right? In the sense that people perceive that maybe there is something wrong with the point of view basically of the other side, right? Like for example in Russia, the Russia-Ukraine war, I don't really think the Russians are like fighting for the Donbass or Luhansk region because they want to farm there.
Yeah, it's secondary. It's not like they don't want that resource, but it's secondary.
Exactly.
It's more of a way of
ideology, like
yes, not wanting the Western
influence over those places, especially those regions actually like Russian speaking and traditionally similar. Yeah. So when it comes to this issue of like ideological conflict, right? Is there a way that we can approach it such that obviously we may never have a situation where the entire world are like kumbaya, singing kumbaya, and like believing the same thing and all of that? But is there a way we can at least build a structure for tolerance, right? So I mean like a structure for tolerance, because I know that there's a lot of people that come and say things like let us just be tolerant and all of that. You cannot just keep on saying let's just be tolerant. There are people who don't give a damn about your tolerance and all of that. So is there a way that maybe the United Nations can create a structure for tolerance of ideological differences? Right? Do you think that's a possibility, or will you just like go into the other camp, right? Basically of like ideological differences will always exist, so let people fight it out. Whichever ideology conquers which one, then let them win.
Yeah, I mean, the United Nations is made up of nations, so they basically will, at the end of the day, have different ideologies, want different resources, want different territories. Some nations will want to expand, some will want to, let's say, move away from the influence of another nation, and the major decision makers in the UN will at some point have ideological differences between each other. So sometimes, because they can't go directly in a confrontation, they might proxies or whatever. So it's never really going to stop for the most part when you talk about that. Though there might be reduced warfare, the more and more access to information that people have. But what then do you do with the information, and how do you process the information? So those are the things that might now determine the reaction of your citizenry or your communities or so those are some.
So then you want to add to?
So first of all, you can't kill ideologies, and often than not, the reason for that is because ideologies can be closely tied to identity as well. And you should also know that there's a lot of paranoia, and that is why these things would not disappear. The paranoia, like, if we truly allow these people in, and I'm going to use the classic case of Russia and US, if we are truly allies, what is going to happen down the line? So that's what people are always trying to project, that maybe in the future Russia then take over. So what happens if this leader become crazy? I mean, you don't even know if it will, but what happens if they now have access to our weaponry? Won't they bite back at us? So I think that paranoia exists, and so everyone is trying to like close their borders, and you know what, we still need to preserve this form of identity no matter what. You understand that sort of a thing. And so in terms of are we going to now get to a point in which everybody are going to be truly tolerant? Again, I'm very skeptical at that. Look at the UN, for instance. We have countries that have veto powers, and what that means is that they can basically get away with what they want. You understand? And it has happened consistently. That was why there is no resolution even with the Ukraine-Russia war, because Russia will always veto the vote. No matter what you guys do, they veto it, and that is the end of it. And if it's for the US too, they are going to veto it too. If it's for the China too, they're going to do like something similar as well. And so everybody will always fight for their own interest. And I'm going to use the US classic sake. There might be internal disagreement. Some people might call themselves liberal, some people might call themselves Republican. It doesn't matter. just the president, whether it's Liberal or Republican, is still always going to fight those proxy wars, no matter what, just because of that identity that they have. So you just know that it's an ideological thing that is like closely tied to the identity. But will there be truly a solution? Again, I feel this is like the most peaceful time we've ever had. At least when you read about it, it might be an hindsight bias, but when you look at it, it seems this is like the most peaceful time we have, and the time that there is a lot of information. People kind of say, you know what, maybe these people are not bad after all. So will he ever get better? I am not sure. And maybe we can hope that would be the case, but I'm actually not sure about that, because those ideologies sometimes are fundamentally different, and not just different, sometimes they're opposite. And so how do you reconcile things that are like opposite? For instance, like it's, unless you eliminate one, so is the other part willing to give up their own ideology for yours? I think that is the question. Yeah.